Anthony, mate. How you doing, man?
How you doing? Good. Good to finally have a nice chat.
It's good to finally have a nice chat, mate.
Yeah.
It's been a while in the making. I've decided to book in a huge number of interviews a little bit ahead of time, and but I'm happy I've got you on
Yeah,
because
definitely.
yeah, you're a bit of an Instagram renegade.
Am I?
From what
Is that good?
it's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, I don't know many people who've just kicked off a little Instagram page about gluten-free food, or at least it was about food to start off with. But just kick it off, just keep it going for 7 years, and suddenly you're on almost 9,000 followers, which is
Yeah.
rather impressive, mate. Rather
Cheers.
impressive.
It's a lot of hours, a lot of work, a lot of mistakes, figuring out which direction to go, and yeah, it's probably well. If you look through it, you probably see there was probably a point about 3.5 years ago, where I decided to start taking it serious, realizing that I could potentially kind of attract a certain audience. I've got a skill being a chef, so I can obviously offer something to the community. So it's just trying to figure out from that point, right? Where do I go? How do I make as few mistakes as possible? So go from there.
Yes, yeah, I mean the trial and error process that we all have to go through. And yes, yeah, you're right. You're right. A few years ago, I've even got specific dates, but we'll
Okay.
go into that. Yeah, I know, sad. I know, sad. We'll get into those in a little bit. But so for everyone who's listening, Anthony Millward, am I pronouncing your surname correctly? I know it's not quite a Szymanowska or a Baron Korkmaz, but
No, you are. You're doing it justice.
excellent, excellent. I'm glad I'm doing the English language justice. You've run obviously your Instagram page for the last 7 years. And I know from what you just said, you only took it seriously a few years ago, but it's called All About Fresh Food.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's only on Instagram that you run it, though. It's not on any other platform, is it?
Well, I do have a Facebook page, but it's small, less than 600.
579.
Well, I think I'm up to 82 or 83 now. But yeah, it's more of a filter through from Instagram to kind of.
Of course it is. Yeah.
But Facebook, the algorithms and it's different. It's a lot different to Instagram. And as soon as you think you've got it figured.
No, sorry. Finish, please.
As soon as you think you've got it figured, the algorithm changes. The target audience changes. You're appealing to 20 to 32-year-olds, and all of a sudden it's 18 to 22-year-olds. It just shifts all of a sudden, and it's trying to keep on top of that, which is always interesting.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I think on Facebook in particular, because it's not as much of a visual entity as Instagram is, and as you probably saw from my comments earlier, I couldn't stop being hungry. Like looking at your page, it's so difficult, and there are so many amazing different types of food. There's one comment that I'll make in a little bit,
Okay.
and this is where I saw a little change in the amount of followers that were kind of liking your photos. It's just a picture of bread, like 3 different types of bread.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, I remember.
We'll go into that in a little bit.
Mm.
But oh my good God, you forget how good bread is. In all fairness, I've kind of been neglecting myself a lot of carbohydrates of late. I think primarily because
I haven't.
It's difficult. It's hard. I mean, admittedly, I did have a pizza and several chicken wings last night.
I seen the chicken wings.
You sort of they're not like chicken wings. They're just breaded pieces of chicken, and I'm being a lazy fat fucker, and I love it.
We're all
Love
lazy.
it.
We're all lazy.
Oh, we are really. We are
Yeah.
all really. We all really have a lazy person
Of course
hidden
we do.
inside. We just need to tap into them more often. I mean, less often. You know what I mean?
Less often. Yeah, I've been tapping into mine a bit too much. I'll go from kind of because obviously we had a discussion earlier that I'm not currently working, I'm furloughed, waiting with obviously everything that's going on at the moment. I'm furloughed. I'm trying to find something to fill my day. So I'll go from spending 6 hours in my kitchen, solid, working on a recipe, changing it, developing it, really, really trying to get it the best I can. And then yesterday, I did nothing. Just sat around being lazy, and it's trying to get a balance. It's hard.
I wouldn't say it's. Yes. I mean, trying to find a balance is important, but I think you just hit the nail on the head. Talk to me about the recipe aspect. What are you making recipes for?
So at the moment, what I want to do, well, obviously, it's gluten free. That's predominantly where I spend most of my time. My 7-year-old being a celiac, I'm working predominantly on trying to come up with some recipes that are no bake, so simple cereal bars. Today I released a recipe for millionaire shortbread. Excuse me. So I had some gifted stuff from one of the companies I work with. So to try and showcase how good the product was, why not work that into something that you'd usually bake? We all know what millionaire shortbread is, or I'm sure a lot of people do. So instead of baking your biscuit base, I work with a very good product and try to incorporate that and make it easier. So, I mean, how long does a millionaire shortbread take? A couple hours to bake, cool, slice. So I'm just trying to shave off the time, make it simple, bit of fun, kids can get involved. That's what I'm trying to work on at the moment. Yeah, really trying to, and I nailed
And
it this morning. Well, I think I nailed it this morning. Sorry.
that's all right. That's all right. No, you think you nailed it.
Mm.
Send me a shortbread, and then we'll see. But that's essentially what you're emitting through your blog at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to put across recipes, and you're trying to, basically attract more people that resonate with that stuff. No,
That's it, exactly that. Because for me, I know we'll talk about later in terms of the monetizing and what you do moving forward with that sort of follow base and numbers and the type of people that are wanting to get involved or are interested. But for me, it's got to be all about the community to start off, because that's where your support is. That's kind of where you see where you're going wrong or you're going right. If you're getting a lot of interactions, or you're getting people saying, "Oh, I've tried that; it's fantastic." I don't know if you've seen. I did some baby bells, ridiculous, super simple, breaded baby bell in a flour milk flour batter. I had about 24 people make it. Get back to me. Oh, it's fantastic. That's what it's all about. It's supporting the community. That's the biggest thing. Sorry to talk about food.
yeah. Stop talking about food. I can't. I'm immediately resenting you and I'm resenting myself for getting you on this show. Jesus. Obviously, that's a massive joke. I love food.
Yeah.
As I told you earlier, I'm going to be turning my Fridays into Feast Friday. I'm going to be talking about food and drink, and I can't fucking wait. It's going to be mad. Yeah, mate, breaded baby bells sound amazing though.
They were filth. They were filth. They were filth.
Jesus Christ.
And the process, obviously, with you not being a chef yourself, the process is it's all about what's the phrase I'm looking for? Trial and error. So you start with one point, you think, right, I'll go from this point with the flour. I'll use X amount of this spice, that spice, and you'll go from there. But the problem is you have to try it. So, right, let's start from one. Didn't work. I need to change the amount of cayenne pepper, but you have to try it. Next one, you have to try it. And before you know it, I've eaten about 12 Baby Bell.
And you're 4 stone heavy than last month. I mean, who the fuck cares though, mate? You know what I mean? Because you're enjoying yourself.
And yeah, I've eaten 12 Baby Bell, but I don't know if it's a good bit or a bad bit, but that's the interesting part of the development.
It's by far the most exciting part of being a chef, and you're kind of more interesting chef insofar as you're not working specifically for one restaurant. You're working in catering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I work in catering management. If it's all right with you, I'd rather not disclose the company I work for, because what I do outside of there is exactly that. It's my own entity. My own comments are exactly that. They're of my own. They're not of the company I work for or the restaurants or the industries that I represent. It's all mine. I'm very, very particular about that because I know people can say and do the wrong things, and they're representing people. So it's the grey line. It really is.
With how you started, all about fresh food, because obviously I know you started back in 2013, and the first couple of photos of your little boy, so bloody cute. Sorry,
Yeah.
what's your little one's name, by the way?
So the eldest is Archie, which is obviously the one from the start of the Instagram. There'll be the pictures, and then
Strong name.
yeah, definitely. And then the youngest is Rory.
And how's the missus being in a household full of men?
She's good, surprising. You know, we've got two female pugs, so that kind of balances it a little bit. But
Oh, does it?
yeah,
No, fair enough, fair enough.
She'd love a girl, but yeah, no more.
Yeah, not happening.
No, definitely not.
And obviously that's how you started. You just been like since 2013. Like people don't realize. Like for me, it feels like yesterday, 2013 to me. But it's obviously for kids who are naughties, born and everything like that. It's just not. But maintaining some kind of consistency, you just kept on posting and posting. And from what I was looking at on your Instagram profile, you just kept posting, and you're getting 1 or 2 likes. And then suddenly here's where the dates come in, mate, the 5th of August 2016, you posted a picture of a vanilla cupcake with lemon frosting, and it got 106 likes. Like 1 or 2 likes, and then
Boom.
Do you remember the vanilla cupcake with lemon frosting?
I can't remember.
It's a long time ago, admittedly, but
to be honest, I know exactly what changed from 3, 4, 5 likes, and then you go from that to consistently 80, 90, 100 likes, and it's...
No, I'm going to walk you there, mate.
Okay.
Walk you there. I want to demonstrate that I've done my research. Okay?
We'll see.
I know, but you don't remember in 2016 because there was a little bit of a jump. So, like in 2016, it did go from that moment, but from 2016, suddenly you were getting between 30 and 100 likes or so. But the real jump, from what I saw, came on the 9th of May 2017 when you got 819 likes from that photo of multiple bread.
Yeah.
What happened there? That was madness. Came out of nowhere.
To be honest, that was just me trying to figure out exactly how it works. I think people underestimate and underplay how much hashtags, especially now you can follow a hashtag, how much they come into play. Huge amounts. And the reason that it went from the smaller end to the bigger end in such a small space of time is I really started to interact with as many people as possible. I wouldn't advise people do it, but it's just what worked for me. And it would be every single night, 3-4 hours. Fantastic post, love it. Check out my recent post. Fantastic post, really like it. That's great. Check out my recent post. And it's just trying to communicate and interact with as much people as possible. And then slowly but surely, you kind of get the influx of people because people are seeing you commenting, right, okay, what's he commenting on? And check. And I do the same now when people comment on mine. They'll say, I might get a like off a random person and I'll go in and think, you know what, they're in a similar position. They're trying to push, so I'll follow them. I'll like a few of their posts. And for me, that's my understanding of how it went from where it was to where it kind of started to grow.
That's amazing. That's it's so obvious that's what you should do. If you know what I mean. That, if anyone was to search how do I increase my Instagram following, it's go and comment on a load of people's photos, go and like a load of photos, go and engage with people. But I don't think people ever have this kind of demonstrable action, if you know what I mean. That's a terrible way of putting it, but I don't think anyone ever sees someone talking about it, for instance yourself. So how realistically, how long, what was the process between you identifying that was something that you need to do between before getting a big influx? Because people like to know times because they're pathetic.
It's a long time. It's God, 12 months until I started to see, until I kind of hit that 1,000 follower mark, and then it kind of slowly started to stumble and move forward. Because the more followers you've got, for me, I noticed the more followers you got, the easier it's to get followers. Does that make sense? I know it's a bit of an
Now
oxymoron.
say it again. Sorry.
So for me, the way I understand it, it's a little bit of an oxymoron, but the more followers you have, the easier it is for me to gain followers. It's
Oh
like,
no, no, that makes absolute sense.
yeah, it's that, and that's how what I experienced. So as soon as I kind of got to that 1,000, 1,500 mark, I just continued with it and just carried on pushing and pushing and pushing. And then you get picked up by certain companies, 3,000, 4,000 followers, whether you do some work for Shah, Marks and Spencers, Morrison's, any of these companies, and they share, you get recognised more. And it's a slow progress. It really, really is. It's not, it will never, ever, ever, ever happen overnight.
It will never be easy. It will
Never.
never be easy, and I think that's something that people have to bear in mind. With regards to obviously the so the jump, what came over you? What happened that made you think, fuck it, you know what, I'm going to give this a go?
Possibly envy, to be completely honest. It's seeing other people, others do it, and just think,
That's
you know
just
what?
normal, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I think we all do it. We see something and think, I could do that better. But not. I don't mean that in a vindictive way or a spiteful way, but it's just believing in yourself and thinking, I can do that. I can do it better. I want to help to have a little input in the community, whether it's just food in general or if it's the gluten-free community or the free from community in general. You see something and think, that's good, but I think I could do something a bit different. I think I could offer something else. And that was my mindset.
No, I like that. I like that. It's and it's come from a genuine place as well. It
Mm.
hasn't come from a forced place. And what I mean by that is, I've identified a gap in the market for a certain element of conversation. This has
Mm.
come from the fact that your kid
Yeah.
suffers from celiac disease, which because I at university lived with a fella who had celiac disease in my second year, and I remember he would have severe stomach cramps and he'd be on the toilet if he had something as simple as a solitary M&M.
Yeah, yeah, of course. What people don't, obviously the community will know a lot about it, but what a lot of people don't realise is, and it's said frequently, and it's frustrating. A crumb won't hurt, and it's not. It's the complete opposite. Of course it will. Of course it will.
It literally will.
Yeah. So the way that I understand the way celiac disease works, so your small intestines have small kind of like hair-like follicles, and they're called villi. And once the gluten is consumed, it goes through your system to your small intestine and acts as an acid. Now it wipes these villi away, and there can be scarring and all sorts on your small intestines, but the villi are what helps to intake your nutrients. So if you're a celiac and you don't know, or if you're repeatedly doing it, you're going to damage your small intestines. There's a big knock-on effect, and people just don't realize. um, Apologies. People just don't realize the impact that it could have. So with our son, we noticed that he wasn't. I mean, a lot of children get reflux, so we thought it was something along those lines. Back and from to the doctors trying to figure it out, and then you see him start to lose weight, and it is what it is. It's a hard thing to diagnose. It's a difficult thing to go through for anyone, let alone a 12-month-old. But you get through it, you figure it out, and you move forward.
How did you feel when you found out that your kid had celiac?
Gutted, yeah, absolutely gutted. But I think that was the point where I kind of went, nah, there's nothing out there that's normal that I can't create gluten free. Like, I don't think there's anything currently on the market now that I don't think I could create or I could replicate for him. No way. That's just my. That might sound a bit egotistical, but that's just my confidence. And when you've got children, it's you do anything.
No, when you got children,
Mm.
egotistic nature has to come into it. You have to believe that you can do everything for them.
Definitely.
Don't ever think that it sounds like egotistical.
Yeah.
And anyone that ever doubts that aspect of them can go do one, man. I can tell you that now. No, I'm not joking.
I appreciate it. No, I appreciate that.
No, for sure. What kind of difficulties have you had? What kind of recipes have you had difficulties with in terms of making for the little one?
You name it. Everything, every single thing. So just to give you a bit,
Like the biggest one that really stands out.
bread. So
I was going to say bread.
So when you make,
I love bread.
me too. There's nothing better than a fresh focaccia out the
Oh,
oven.
mate, I've got an M&S down the road. Since moving to Twickenham, literally week before lockdown, I only shop at M&S. In all fairness, it's because it's the closest one to me, but they also do fucking great bread, and they did this amazing kind of like just cheesy focaccia, just off the shelf, and I was just like,
filth.
I mean, this would be so much better from an even local bakery, but this is still good enough.
Yeah. That's the thing. And what a lot of people don't realise that aren't either gluten-free or don't work in the food industry is, so when you make bread, any type of bread, well, most types of, if you're making a focaccia, so obviously you work the dough, and when you work the dough, you extract the gluten. That's what kind of get that elasticity, and that's that sort of texture. Now with gluten-free bread, you don't have the gluten, so you straight away roadblock. Right, how do I get around this? Now you can use things, all sorts of different things, xanthan gum, and just to help to hold the bread together, or a stabilizer. But it's gluten-free bread is really difficult. It's hard. Pastry.
No, I feel you.
Yeah, pastry's another one. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Like bread and pastry, pretty much. Well, anything bakery focused is by far, I can imagine, the most difficult. So, have you? Okay, let's bring it back for a second, because I just want to understand exactly where you are in your life. So, you've been able to take all your Instagram photos, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at which point did you think that you were able to monetize it? Did you have to do it yourself, or were you approached by other people? How did it work?
Yeah, so for me, it was never. It never started to try and monetize it. Absolutely not. That was never my intention. It was all about giving back and supporting. That, and it'll always be the same. But for me, I got approached. I'm trying to think what company it was. It may have actually been just off the top of my head. It may have been Shah. Shah are Europe's leading producer of gluten-free foods. Fantastic products, really good. So I believe it was around about then when they reached out and said, listen, we'd love to send you a load of bits, create some bits, have some fun. And it kind of went from there, and I kind of realised, maybe I can start doing some work with other companies. So from now,
So they reached out to you first.
They reached out to me first, yeah.
Amazing. How many followers did you have at that point?
Must have been around the 5,000 mark, 5,000, something like that.
And up until that point, were there any other like social media tricks that you were using to get more followers?
Again, just trying to interact as much as possible.
That's it. You weren't doing like any mass follows or unfollows or anything like that.
No. There's always
I've done that.
There's always the
like a fiend.
There's always the follow for follow back, all those sorts of things. You always get the odd little follow.
I hate that shit.
Yeah, don't we all?
No. I've done. What I've done in the past is the whole look at one of my hashtags and then follow a few people in the recent section of that hashtag, and then expect to follow back. But I've kind of stopped all of that shit. I think it's primarily because it just seems so ingenuine.
Yeah.
And I'd like to genuinely just put out content for content's sake. I don't want to... I would like to get followers. I would love to get to the stage where I'm monetizing, but that's not the reason why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
It's not. It's simply to give startup entrepreneurs the option to speak, to understand what it takes to be an entrepreneur. And And so from your perspective, like, I imagine it was much the same thing. I mean, you did it just as a hobby before, and it was just like anyone else. I'm just going to post a load of shit and, post a load
See where
of
it goes.
pictures of photos, which is great because who doesn't love a photo of food? Because I do, and I get hungry
Absolutely.
looking at shit. But obviously, you didn't have any of those inclinations, like when you decided to make it into something else. You didn't want to do anything like that.
No, no, I said it was all just very, very natural. And then at the point where I realised, right, okay, companies are getting interested. There's a potential to work with other companies. So, completely honest about this, I put money into my Instagram. So, like a lot of Instagrammers would. So, I think I've got a post out. I've got a post out at the moment. Yeah, I think the post I put out this morning, I might put £10, £15 on a promotion on it just to help to widen, or I might specifically target a certain area. So, interesting fact, I'm fairly certain it's the world. I know it's definitely Europe, but it may be the world's highest number of celiacs reside in Northern Ireland, which is such an unusual fact. I'm fairly certain it's the world. I might have got that a little bit wrong, but I know it's definitely Europe. So
Either
then,
way, it's a very small
yeah,
population.
it's
That's a really random fact.
but then that interests me. So it's like, what point was there an issue with celiac disease? What point was there too much? Because obviously, as a race, we shouldn't. As a race, sorry, as humans, we shouldn't eat too much gluten
It's
anyway.
21st, mate. It's the
Yeah,
21st century. Can't say race. It's all right. You're on a very, very non-politically correct podcast. You're okay.
yeah, but yeah, just being very aware that what to and what not to say.
No need.
But yeah, so then I'll target certain areas. So I'll look at, right, how has a previous post performed, right, and I'll look at the forecast. So it's targeted. So this is the main target group that it's benefited, right? Okay, so that was a sweet post, okay, but then a savory post might target a different type of demographic. So then when I'll come up with another, so the one I did this morning, I will target a certain age group. So I think today's was between 18 and 32. So then I'll just put £10 on it, give it a week, 5 days, and it just helps me grow.
Okay. Anthony, in terms of the moment at which you decided to, I suppose, go from it just being a blog or just being an Instagram page to you think being like, right, you know what, my little boy, he's got celiac disease. Um, I should start actually writing recipes and promoting stuff that's a little bit more attuned to what I'm going through. What talk to me about that process?
it, it would have been a specific product or something that you wanted to have that you couldn't have. I mean, I couldn't recall it, but it would have been something along those lines where I've just gone, it's not right. Why is it, for example, I can eat Jaffa cakes and that product's not on the market? Why is it not on the market? Why is nobody baking at home? What's the reason? And that's the reason I got involved, because I wanted to try and give, like I said numerous times, give back to the community, and in turn learn something from them, because it's two ways. The amount of support in the gluten-free and the free from community is amazing. The recipes shared, even the experiences shared of what they've done and how they've done it, and what their outcome was. So it was all about making sure that my son didn't go without, because that was the worst. As a father, you never want to see your children go without, or have something that they should have that they can't have because of an allergy, and it's just not right. So that's where it come from me personally.
And At that point, do you reckon that was around the time that we were mentioning the whole rosemary and olive, fennel seed, and basil mixed seed bread post? Was that around that time?
It would have been, yeah, because that's the point where I thought, you know what, I'm going to start taking this serious before I really start pushing gluten-free products and trying to develop gluten-free recipes. You know, let's go with what I know. You know, I'm like we were chatting before. I moved to Italy when I left college, so trained as a pastry chef. So I know I'm confident on certain things. I can do certain things well without sounding egotistical and like I've got this. I'm this big. I am. There's certain things I can and can't do. So it was right. Let's first of all, people going to want to look and comment and interact with the sort of stuff I'm doing. And if they are, then let's slowly start to develop and work and try and push more of my gluten free ideas and go from there.
And what was the kind of first responses to your gluten free ideas? Did you have like actual responses, or was it just a case of just trialing and erroring?
Very much both. Everything's all trial and error.
It's a stupid question.
Yeah, no such thing as a stupid question. um, for me, it probably really hit home. I was at an event where there was a few of us. We were involved in some seasonal work for one of the big gluten free companies, and we were looked after. We were taken to London for the day, and we had a nice meal, and it was like, appreciative. It was great, and it was at that point I realised that there is very little diversity in the. Without putting this wrong, the diversity wasn't huge in the community. So obviously there was males, females, children, all sorts that were celiacs. But in terms of who was given to the community, he was blogging, who was getting involved, it was predominantly kind of white, middle class women. And I thought that I could offer something to that community without coming across wrong. It was all about, so for me, I've always been the outsider. And I really realized when I went to this event and there was only 10 or 12 of us and I was the only man there. And it's like, okay, why? Why is it so predominantly women? It interested me, and that spurred me on more than anything because I
And
thought,
did you identify why it was only women?
not yet. I've had conversations with a lot of PR, a lot of companies, yeah, but it's odd. It's just not that I've got anything against it because there are some amazing, absolutely amazing content creators. They're fantastic, but I can't figure out why there's not more men. There is some fantastic men that do it, but it's not as it's just not as what's the word? It's just not as recognised.
No,
It's
it's not as it's not as popular, I guess,
yeah,
for lack of better terms. I think
yeah,
a lot of it comes down to the, I suppose, gluten-free fad.
yeah,
Obviously, from your perspective, you're doing it for your child who actually can't eat wheat,
yeah,
which is obviously a very admirable point to start at. But obviously, there was this huge phase, which I think is still ongoing, but obviously not as prominent as it
yeah,
was 3 or 4 years ago. But I think you did start at a point where it was, I mean, flukily or not, I don't think that was your intention, but I think 3 or 4 years ago, that's when it was really prominent.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I think so. Yeah, I would agree, and it's almost probably brought the community together. It's made them a bit stronger because, especially when I was in restaurants and hotels, you'd hear it off chefs and other people. Not in the business I work in at the moment. I'm talking 10, 12 years ago. You'd hear chefs say, "Oh, gluten free" or da da da, and it's like that was the attitude. Where now, since 2014, at least anyway, since the new laws come in place, it's just shifted for me. It's
No, it's
completely different now.
powerful.
So yeah,
No, it's really good. It's like going from the perspective of, oh God, this guy's got a nut allergy to, yeah, shit, we need to
shit, he's
really,
got a nut allergy. What can we do? Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
And
Yeah, I mean,
sorry, go on.
that's right. I was just going to say, like, I can't eat peanuts, or I can eat almonds and cashews, but I can't eat anything else. Otherwise, it's sayonara for Rowan and Sinclair.
And what is that? Is that the protein in the nut, or have you identified what it is in the peanut that you can't eat?
Honestly, I have not. I have
Mm.
not. I just stay clear of shit,
All
and
right.
generally been quite good. But you're right. You know, I probably should, but
Just out of interest, because just
no, I
weird like
know.
that.
You know what? It's a weird thing because as long as I'm safe, I tend not to look into it too much. You know what I
Mm.
mean? It's just like, well, if I ain't gonna die eating this, then I
Yeah,
should be kosher.
it's not
But
broken, don't fix it. It's probably what it
yeah,
comes
you know
down
what I
to.
mean? Exactly, exactly.
But
Which is a
no,
different. It's interesting.
there's been a huge shift in the last few years of how serious allergens are, and for me, it makes me quite proud because it's good to see that shit gluten free. Right, what is that? What's in this? What's in that? Now it's so common. Right, you can't eat wheat, rye, barley, oats. It's so common. A lot of people know. My 7-year old will ask, "Daddy, is it gluten free? Daddy, has got barley in it. Daddy, has it got wheat in it?" He's 7. Do you know what I mean? But that's because we've not drummed it into him from a young age, but because we've been so open with him in the way that we've
Yeah,
parented him to explain, right, this, and this. And obviously, he's had flare ups where he's eaten some, or he's been given something he shouldn't have. I mean, touch wood, we've never made that error because we're so vigilant in the way that we manage it.
is it just gluten with him thus
Yeah,
far?
yeah. It's just
Yeah.
gluten. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. A lot of people, when they see what I do and what I try to help with, they think, "Oh, celiac. He's a celiac." I've got no allergies. I've got a little bit of IBS, mild IBS, when I get too stressed or eating certain food, but generally, no. It's just trying to give back, just trying to be nice, without
Yeah.
sounding like a
Yeah. No.
creep.
No, you're not sounding like a creep at all. You sound like you give a fuck about your child, which is like
Yeah.
a what a decent father would be, mate. Um, but just going back, obviously from my perspective and the allergy thing, I just realised like I was just wondering for a second, like why the hell have I not actually looked into this further?
Mm.
And then I realised like I'm not going to die.
Yeah.
Like if I eat a peanut, I will struggle and it will be painful, but I'll come out clean the other side.
Is it
And it's
anaphylactic? Do you have a EpiPen?
no,
Fortunate.
no,
That's good.
I'm
That's
cool.
good.
Well, no, no, it's
It's,
great.
that's a good thing. Yeah.
No, without a doubt, which makes me wonder, like people should. I mean, and from your perspective, it just makes you more of a caring father because you genuinely
Mm.
do. You just want to know because you want to make damn sure
Yeah, definitely.
kid goes through childhood
And then
scot free.
having that type of mindset, that plays massively when I'm in my Monday to Friday, my kind of 9 to 5 role, where if I have a customer come through the door, or a client who is specifically gluten free, I feel confident. Right, this is what we've got on the menu today. These are the processes we've taken to cook it, and these are the processes we've taken to ensure that there's no contamination. Obviously, my kitchens, they contain we've got gluten in the kitchen, we've got bread, we've got flour, we've got all these things. But I like to just be as straight up and honest as possible. Right, these are the products. They don't contain it. However, this is in the kitchen. This is my experience, my son, and I like to try and give people a little bit of reassurance. Right, he knows what he's talking about. I feel a bit more comfortable because I mean, if you were to go into a restaurant when all this madness stops, and you were to have a dish that you knew contained peanuts, you'd ordered it without peanuts, but you weren't too sure, you wouldn't enjoy yourself, would you? You'd be on edge. Has it got peanuts? Has it not? Should I eat it? Shouldn't I? Where if you fill this person full of confidence, that's it. You sit down, you enjoy your meal, end of. And I feel that's what all chefs should do. That's what everybody who works in the food industry should do. Is just make you feel comfortable.
The monetization aspect of all about fresh food. How did that?
Mm-hmm.
How did that come about? Because obviously, I know you mentioned earlier that one of the companies approached you, but how did it go further than that?
So it go from there. When I realised, right, okay, there's an opportunity to not only give back to the community, but to potentially earn off it. And what I do is I reinvest it in myself or the equipment I've bought to just produce better content. it started off, so a couple of companies reached out and, wanted me to do little bits here and there. And then I just thought, you know what, I'm going to start reaching out to other companies. And then you get certain agencies that I do some work with, and they have got a couple of different clients, and it kind of snowballs all in. And my target at the moment is to try and get one or two kind of paid content, or however you'd put it, a month, and that's kind of my goal for the end of this year. And at the
Okay. So
moment,
what's your process about going about that?
so it's just seeing what, trying to be as familiar with what's going on in the community at the time. So right, what's coming out? So this company is working on this certain thing, or I'll notice that M&S were really pushing their, excuse the phrase, but love sausage. I don't know if you'd seen that M&S's love sausage. So I got involved with some of the PR bits of that, and it's just trying to be as switched on as possible, and just recognizing what trends are going where, and right, okay, I'll reach out to this person. Is there any opportunity to do this with you or that with you? And then they'll just start coming back to you and just presenting you with the opportunities, which is what I'm starting to be in touch with, notice now. And I think, well, I like to hope that's coming back to the content that I produce. The content should be better. It should be a bit more informative and a bit more engaging. That's how I'm trying to move forward. So hopefully that's recognised in what I'm producing.
No, I hope so. I hope so, and I think it definitely is. I mean, obviously, there's a huge amount of consistency within your content. Have you ever found that you've needed to reach out to anyone
In terms of,
trying to get your content monetized?
yeah, I've reached out to a couple of companies previously and said,
What's your process been around that?
For me, I have to be passionate about the product, the company. I'm not interested in earning £150 because the opportunity's there. It's got to be right. It's got to be the right product. It's got to be a good product. It's got to be. I mean, you probably noticed we've been talking for a bit more than an hour now. I'm really passionate about the food industry. So if I'm not passionate and I don't believe in the product, I won't get involved,
Yeah,
because
okay.
I have to stay true to myself. I have to be, you know, I openly I take and I use CBD. Works wonders for me. So I did some work with a CBD company back end of last year, and it has to be something I believe in, or I think will help the community. Or yeah, I'm not as nice as it is to earn. That's not what it's all about.
No, for sure, for sure. From a CBD perspective,
Probably the media noticing how much it starts to take off. Suffering a little bit of the IBS and having quite a stressful role. I mean, I think everybody is at some point on the scale of anxiety. I think we all suffer with it, if I'm being honest. So it was probably to help with a little bit of that, not overthinking things. So I started taking capsules. I started with the pipettes, and now every day I take a capsule. I take a pipette. I'm a massive believer in it. I think it needs to be legalized in this country, if I'm honest, so I can make canna butter and we can all, you know. But that's a conversation for another day, I guess.
it's a conversation for another day. Yeah,
But
I've
I
got.
believe in the product. I believe in the product. I'm passionate about it, so it's something that I'll back. Yeah, sorry, I hope that answered the question. I'm probably waffling now.
No, no, you're not waffling at all, mate. You're not waffling at all. It was just interesting. I think there was never really a point in the conversation that was going to be a topic at
No,
all, which was interesting. So, in terms of obviously, so the companies which have reached out to you so far, what has been the manner of your relationship with them? Have you maintained relationship with them? Have you had any issues that you've had to contend with?
no, no problems. Every company I've worked for have been fantastic. Some are interesting the way they operate, in terms of monetizing, or the way that they gift their influencers, or I don't know if you call me an influencer or a micro influencer, but
You are
it's
definitely an influencer, my man, but you're
uh,
going to have to definitely describe to me what you mean by they are different.
so without going into too much detail about who. So some companies will, so there'll be a contract. So a couple of companies I've worked for or worked with, there'll be a contract. Right, this is our agreement. I did one a couple of months ago, and it was a 7-page document. It was really interesting. It wasn't a huge amount of money, but that's not the point. But it would be right. This is what you'll receive to create the content. This is what we agree we pay you. This is when you have to get the content out. These are the hashtags you have to use. And then you go to another company and it's like, right, here's a box, crack on. We're going to gift you £200 worth of products. Have fun. It's one extreme to that. And it's really, really interesting because, yeah, it's great. Some of it's fantastic. I might be a little bit exaggerative at £200, but I did some work for a well-known supermarket about 8 months ago, and had about £150 worth of barbecue stuff. It was amazing, but a gifted campaign. It was fantastic. So like, these are the
That's
benefits.
fantastic.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. It is. It's really good. The benefits are fantastic.
Okay, well, I'll ask you a question which isn't very practical. How did you feel when you got your first offer from a brand that was so well known?
Proud, really, really proud. Yeah,
My man, and I
yeah,
like that, mate. I'm fucking straight, mate. Be
yeah.
proud.
Just
You
proud.
should be, man. And this was obviously this was post, or this is during um, celiac times, or during celiac times, during gluten-free times. You know what I mean, man.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's the thing. It's like, because it's exactly the same for yourself. You're in a position where you're working and you're working towards a certain goal, and then when you eventually get there and you get some form of recognition, it's amazing. It's unbelievable, because obviously I wasn't too sure what I was working towards, but then when I got approached and said, "Listen, we like what you're doing. You're creating some good content. We want to work with you," and that's just, it's fantastic to hear that, because you think, right, all that hard work, all those mistakes, all the hours. Now, I mean, I've put stupid hours into Instagram, but I feel like I understand it, and I understand the way the trends go. And, well, I don't understand the algorithms. I don't think anyone will ever understand the way
You're
that works.
fucking changing them.
I know, but it's like you say, it's just recognition. It's good to think, do you know what? Yeah, you're doing something right.
No, no, and mate, I'm really happy for you. I'm really proud of you. You've done fantastic. How much money do you put into ads, roughly,
Oh, good question.
of your annual income? I'm joking, not of your
No, no,
annual
no,
income.
no. It depends.
Roughly, like when you started out,
Yeah,
obviously it's going to be fucking different now because
yeah,
now, like, it's totally changed. Because I think everyone since I think about November last year saw a massive drop in their organic likes, for instance, because
big
obviously
time, big
Instagram were
time.
just like, oh, hi, Instagram, owned by Mark, and Mark wants you to pay for everything now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I would probably say pre-October, November, I was putting on average 10, 15, £20 a month. Not a lot, just a couple of pounds here and there, just to help to grow it. And yeah, and now I would say probably from November onwards, it all depends what it is. Now, if I'm doing some work for a company, and I knew I'd be struggling with certain bits of engagement, then I might stick a tenner, £10, £15 on a post to help push it. But yeah, it's difficult to put a number on it because it changes. I would say for the rate I'm going this year, by the end of the year, it would be 500-600 quid, something like that, for the
What
year.
for the year?
Yeah,
That's
so
it.
not a lot, not a huge amount. Maybe a little bit more. I mean, what are we halfway through May? I've probably put £30, £20, something like that. So it's not a lot, but for me, it would stop immediately if I didn't see something. So if I didn't see that I was getting engagements, or I wasn't reaching new people, I wasn't reaching my target demographic, then I'd have to stop. I'd have to change. I'd have to do something else. I don't put it in for the sake of putting it in. It's for a goal. It's to help grow and develop.
So we're going to dig into this a little bit further
Okay.
before we close up, if that's all
Yeah,
right.
of course.
What is your how do you specifically keep the costs so low within your ads?
It's probably content then, um, because for me that comes first over anything. It's got to be all about what you're producing. It can't just be for the sake of it because, raspberry sponges are doing well at the moment, I'm going to make one because that's not. I couldn't care less. And it's so off. Yeah, I'm just mate, I'm just waffling, but I like to see right what's performing well. What can I? Because I'm not the type of person to jump on a bandwagon. Oh, we're all making pastries this month, so let's
So
you'll
you're
notice it
talking. It's simply content. It's
for
simply.
me.
It's not. So how are you using Facebook ads? Or are you just boosting posts?
No, I don't. I boost posts on Facebook,
You boost posts on Facebook, right?
and yeah, I pay for ads on Insta, and that's it. But it's
You pay for ads on Insta, and by pay for ads on Insta, what do you mean exactly? What do you do?
thought that was. I'm not sure. That was.
Are you no? Because this is where the confusion lies. Because obviously you can use Facebook Business Manager
Oh no,
to.
no, 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 no! I don't
So
use
you
that.
don't touch that. You don't
No, no,
touch that.
no, no. It's all through Instagram now. The page was
Right.
a business page, but they recently released content. Is it content creator or creator? I can't remember what it's called, but they changed it so you can have three types of profile now, can't you? Business page, personal page, and then it's a content creator or creator. I can't think what it is. So I've just recently changed it to that.
Okay. Okay. And how are you finding that?
To be honest, I've not noticed from business to creator. I've not really noticed anything. Um, but it made sense for me to change to creator because I'm not a business. That was the main reason I changed. But um, I like coming back to your question on how do I spend so little. I like to try and think. Well, I like to think that I'm creating something that's engaging. So if this person is doing a well, perfect example is probably what I did today. Everyone knows how to do a shortbread. It's relatively simple. Whether they can do it well or not is another question. But it's simple, but it's different. So it's engaging. So for me, they can see, right, yeah, we've seen it before. All right, but you've not baked it. That's different. All right, that's different. That's my kind of take on it. So that's I might not be putting it into very good words, but that's my way of thinking. That's the way I like to go about it. I like to try and be different. I'm not just gonna do it for the sake of doing it. Otherwise, what's the point?
Oh, it's always different. It's always different. The way in which you do things is always going to appeal to a different target market or demographic at the end
Mm,
of the day, whether you bake, cook, or fry, or you know,
I love fried food. Love it.
that's that's what's all about fried food right now.
Oh, southern fried chicken. Oh,
Yeah,
here's a good.
found a pizza yesterday and a
I've,
just a array of fried chicken bits. It was fiendish.
so just to come back to the question on why some of the posts do better than others or why I put so little into it. So we're what 8 weeks into quarantine. What I mean, we're about 8 weeks into this lockdown now. About three
Yeah.
or 4 weeks into it, everyone's sick of it, aren't they? Everybody's sick of it. I'm sick of it. You're sick of it. We just want to get back to normality. Obviously, everyone's worried about their families and friends. The amazing work the NHS is doing. It's just everything's too much. Everything can be too much. And I don't know about you, but I'm missing takeaways. So I'm missing KFC, and I don't care who you are. Everybody loves. There's something you love.
Have you
It's
not?
takeaway
Have
or
you not
it's
got? Have you not got decent options for takeaway?
no, we have. But what I wanted
They're
to
very.
do, we obviously things like KFC, McDonald's are all shut, aren't they? So I was like, right, well, I'm gonna make my own KFC. So it must have been a couple of weeks ago. I made my own Fakeaway Friday. Again, it's engaging, it's different. Obviously, a lot of the other bloggers do Fakeaway Friday, but I tried to kind of target two groups. So not only the gluten free, it was all gluten free, but also a lot of people that are missing takeaways. So I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone. So it's engaging because it's a takeaway, fantastic. We all miss KFC. I could smash a bucket right now with a load of dirty southern fried gravy. Why not make it at home? So it's like, right, this is what I did. This is how I did it. KFC at home. It's engaging. It gets you excited. It's familiar as well. It's something we know. Because if I was to, I don't know, let's make a cordon bleu. Fuck's a cordon bleu? No, let's make a dirty. Yeah, let's make a dirty Big Mac at home.
Reach out to majority of the inhabitants of Shrewsbury and see how many can spell cordon bleu.
How many know what it is?
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. It's
No,
got to be
you're right,
relative. It's got to be relative for me. It's got to be. I mean, we're doing our garden out at the moment, or part of it, and done the decking and new furniture, and I'm buying a pizza oven because I'm thinking, right, it's we want it for home, and I love pizzas, but I'm also thinking, right, what can I do with that pizza oven? What mad things can I make for Instagram for that pizza oven? It's not just pizzas. Imagine some tandoori chicken in a pizza oven. Oh, it'd be filthy. Or handmade naan breads in a pizza oven. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to open it up and it gets bigger. And
on that note, yeah, sounds amazing. I would like you to do two things for me before
okay,
we end the show. If that's all right,
of course,
if that's okay with you. Okay,
depends what
cool.
they are.
Number one, I would like you to pitch me all about fresh food. You have
Okay.
a 10 to 15 elevator pitch opportunity to tell me and all the 1/2, maybe 3, if they're siblings, people out there that are listening to this podcast, why they should come to All About Fresh Food going now.
Why should you come to me? What do you want me to create that's gluten-free? It's as simple as that. You've seen the most amazing things on Instagram. I created gluten-free. That's what I'm about. I want to be able to do everything that's gluten-free. All about fresh food, all about community, all about support. I'm here to answer questions.
No, that was decent, man. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for listening. Now, number 2 is, have you got your phone?
Yes.
Cool. You're gonna have to do something very odd.
Okay.
In your is that a swivel chair?
Yes.
Excellent. Now you're gonna have to swivel and then do yourself a selfie with me in the background.
Okay.
Do that. Excellent. You swivel in whichever way you feel comfortable.
Smile.
No.
Okay. We're good.
My guy.
We're good.
Right. Do me a favour, ping that across to me on Instagram when you get the chance.
Absolutely.
Anthony Millwood, it was a pleasure. Thank you
Good.
so much, man. It was really good. It was really good for you to come on and have a chat. It was nice to hear about what you're doing because I never fully understood it. I think that's basically like 90% of the time. You know what? That's half the fun. You know, if you're making money whilst not understanding it, I think that's half the excitement, isn't it? But it was an absolute pleasure meeting you, and I really appreciate you coming on the show and giving me the time of day because I know I'm early in my repertoire of life, I guess. And it's amazing to meet someone who started something, or at least not start something because you'd already started, but move something further on because their child has a horrible deficiency / illness. God, both of which sound terrible.
It's a disease. No, you're completely right. It's a disease, isn't it?
How do I put it?
Disease.
Yeah.
It's a horrible disease.
Of course it is. It's a horrible disease. It's a horrible disease, which is, it's manageable, but it's so unmanageable at the same time. It's one of those things which no one can really actually understand how to deal with unless they experience it themselves and know someone's going through it. Or
absolutely,
obviously, go to your page, man. Like it sucks, man. Like a lot of love to your little one. Like that sucks.
Appreciate
it. Thank you again. Is there anything else that you can leave my 1 or 2 listeners out there with that could understand?
I think I'm one of those listeners.
That doesn't make me feel better.
I mean, for me, I just want to be able to give something back. I am confident in what I'm doing with gluten-free food. I just want to be able to help people feel more comfortable and confident at home, because there's nothing worse. I mean, I've got a couple of followers that have recently started following me, and one of them is new to celiac disease. So you can see that she's really struggling with the way that she has to manage her own meals and the way that she does things. And so I'm just, every now and then, if I see something, I'll comment, oh, this is this. She'll comment on what I've shared, and she's sharing. I'm saying, fantastic. Try this out, try that out. And that's what it's all about for me. It's these people that are struggling, that are new to the disease. Absolutely, I'm here to support, and I'm proud of it as well. I'm proud to be supporting such a helpful kind of supportive community.
Thank you again, mate, for jumping on, and thank you for listening and watching, depending on where you are. You could be YouTube, it could be podcast. I don't know, because this is pre-recorded. That's how it works.
No, thanks for having me on. I appreciate you letting me come on, and that's great to get involved. So, by the sounds of it, we're doing this every Friday. It's East Fridays.